Good evening and compliments of the season. This is a very interesting time in our season. This is Christmas. For those of us who are Christian, we celebrate Christmas, and in some other parts of the world where they don't celebrate it, we say Happy Holiday. Welcome to another edition. This is, I think, our third, second to the last edition before the end of the year. So we are pumped. My co-host Obi is right here, and what's up, buddy? I'm hearing feedback on your side. Good
Yes. I think it's better health now. Good to see you.
to see
You
you,
look
man.
great.
Oh, you're looking sharp as usual. You know, you can't help yourself. Uh, Welcome to another edition of Broken Not Shattered. Hey, guess what, dude? Before we go into anything heavy, man, I just finished watching the World Cup. I have been glued on this thing um, since the onset. I first of all want to give props to the African team that tried to excel. Morocco, they did very well. I think that's a good head start. I was a little heartbroken when we didn't make it into the finals, but it's at least we got to the semifinals for the first time an African team against the semifinals in the World Cup, and that just gives us hope that things will get better as we go along as a continent. But today's game, man, today's game was an eye opener.
It's a
today's
final like never before.
I'm telling you, man, as France and Argentina will
Argentina.
receive the skills of Mbappe and Messi. Now, I'm not.
Messi.
I know everyone's going to put a gun to my head in a minute, but I'm not really much of a Messi fan per se. I mean, he has good quality skills. He plays great soccer, um, but I was really rooting that France would carry the thing again. However, one thing I learned, Obi, is that it is never over until it's over.
Until it's over.
It's never over until it's over. I was watching the game with a couple of friends of mine, and they were in different parts of town, and just calling or and they were like, "Oh, how's it going, man?" And they were like, "The game is almost over, man. You're two down zero. 79 minutes into the game, you're 2-0. You're playing Argentina. It's not possible." And boom, everything began to change. That in 2 minutes, France were able to equalize, and even when the game went to extra time, they were able to draw. So what ended this World Cup was penalty shootouts. It was just ministry again and again and again, and
Yeah.
all I could think of, I could just hear those words. It's never over until it's over.
It's
It's
over.
never
Yeah.
over until it's over. And the tenacity. Yes, I know. It looks as if France were sleeping and dragging their feet initially, but once they kicked in, they kicked in, and it reminds me of God, how God does His things. He's the God of the second chance, the third chance, the 11th chance. He comes in at the 11th hour when you think all is over. There's no hope for him. He's dead and buried, and all of a sudden, just like in the Matrix, he rises back into life again, and continues running his race. So if there's anyone out there on behalf of Broken Not Shattered, that if you think you're going through a challenging time right now, we just have a word for you, that it's never over until it's over. Okay, so just hang in there, hold on tight, put your trust in God Himself, and He will take you through. He will guide you through. He will guide you through. He will guide you through. As long as you have breath in your lungs, there is still hope for you to overcome whatever it is that you're going through.
Whatever.
What's
Whatever.
that favorite thing that we say, Obi? That a living dog is stronger than
Even though it's always better than a
the
dead
dead
lion.
lion. The dead lion.
Yes.
So what's up, man? Any dead lions in your neighborhood?
You know what you're saying? For me, it's a two-way thing.
Yeah.
It's the other side of the negative, the other side of the positive. Even when you are winning,
Ah,
it's not over until it's over.
no
No,
buga,
no, don't be too fast to dance booga. Stay on course.
no buga, no
And
buga.
if you're losing, no need to worry.
No buga, no need to
Stay
buga.
on course.
I hear you, bro. I hear you, man. I hear you. All right, man. Yes, it's true. That's a very important thing. You can't count.
Yes,
Don't count your eggs until they hatch. Hmm?
exactly.
Yes, if you so people have a tendency of counting their eggs so soon, or they think, oh, they're on top of the world, and they start oppressing or suppressing everyone around them. Well, there's a lesson to learn. Life is always has a twist. There's a very strong African saying that umweze anaweze. I say that again. Umweze anaweze, which means that the sons of kings never end up being kings. So most times it's just people that are from the back streets of nowhere that God will use, clean them up like us, and then use them for great and mighty things. He's the God of the
it's like the nest of king
yeah.
always selling properties.
Uh,
So you acquire properties, and the nest of king sells properties.
property. Yes, yes,
That's
yes,
not investing or
yeah,
taking
yes,
the
yes,
legacy
yes.
that brings
Because
it
he doesn't know how you got it. He never
down.
knew
Exactly.
never knew your struggle. He just shows up and he feels like, oh, this was left to me, my inheritance. He doesn't,
Yes.
he doesn't do anything with it, and then decides to sell it. Okay, so where are we today? It's gonna be an interesting one. Um, let's see if there's any messages coming in. All right, so someone wants to know, how do you now know when it's over? How do you now know when it is over? I'll let you go first, Obi, then I'll come in.
It's simple. Well, what I would say as regarding that is this: it depends on the event.
All
If
this
it is the event of life, it is never over until you drop or until one drops dead.
man.
This is for the event of life. It is never over until there is no longer breath.
Mhm.
But so long as there is breath, the game is still on.
I agree with you on
I,
that.
I think I think our focus on this is event of life. So that's I can only use the event of life to say
Right,
that.
right, yeah. I agree with you on that when it comes to the events of life, that it's not over until it's actually one kicks the bucket, pretty much one dies. Once you're alive, there's always hope. But there comes a time when you're going through life and you go through some very, very, very dark times.
Yes.
Very dark times. And those times you think, oh, there's no way out,
Okay.
that this is a pretty much wrapped case, it's over and done with. They've closed the coffin, sealed it up, and it's a closed chapter. Um, I I personally have gone through some experiences like that where I felt it was a closed chapter, but God, really, who just kept on uh, reminding me of His promises, reminding me of all the things I've overcome, and reminding me that if I don't go through this fire, I will not come out of the other end as pure gold. So I need to go through this furnace. And when you're going through that journey, it's not a fun time, pretty much, but it's a journey. So as long as you're not stagnant, you're not stopping, you're not still, then there is hope. There is always hope. What the enemy does, he comes and sells us a lie. Basically, he sells us the lie that it is a hopeless situation. And hope deferred makes the heart completely sick, you know? And once the heart is sick, yeah, the heart can't beat as functional as it should. And then one starts having suicidal ideations. You start thinking about, how do I take out myself from this place? Um, I just pray that people, when they do find themselves in that position, that they reach out to their loved ones, reach out to friends, reach out to centers that are available, just to get the encouragement they need to continue going, because it is in that time that you want to hear a voice of reasoning, a voice of hope. We pray that they tune into this channel at that particular time and just hear our voices telling them, you don't have to give up. You don't have to give up. Um, I've been there myself when I felt like, oh, this is a very hopeless situation. But with the support around me, I just kept on going and kept on going. And then you push through, and voila, there's a great a great blessing ahead of you that is awaiting just for you with your name Obi on it.
You
So
know, yeah, go ahead.
go ahead, man. Go ahead.
So I agree with what you're saying. Now, a few other things I want to add to what you've just said, and I believe while you were talking, I received that. One is one of the things what we suffer intends to bring out of us. It is always for a purpose. Second, also is I am trying to champion help within, not external help. Now, let me begin from first what it intends to bring out of us. For everything we pass through is to either redefine our purpose or bring remold us. I'll give you an instance.
Mhm.
Yesterday, I call him a boy of mine, was one of the Air Force guys that were just commissioned lately. The last batch, that was yesterday, senior officer. And this was a boy I stayed with. He had me talk about Mission House. Today when you talk with him, he sounds so rugged, so disciplined. This was a boy, I call him then a boy that used to be, one of the fellowship executives. He started with acting, drama. And these were boys who grew under me. Like I can tell him very clearly. But today, when you see him speak, he speaks like one officer, rugged and disciplined officer.
Mm.
Now they've been in training for almost a year, and that training brought out another aspect of him that he never imagined while he was in school.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
And then he said to me that at some point, they are not scared of receiving torture.
Mhm. Mhm.
That the only thing the torture will do to them is that it will bring out another
Mm.
person in
That's who they
themselves.
are. That's yes. Of themselves.
Exactly.
Yeah.
A more stronger person.
Right.
So
Right.
they're not scared. If you want to give me punishment till tomorrow, that's fine. It will make me more stronger than I am today.
So it's like putting a tea bag into hot water.
Exactly.
Every time you dip it in, you get a nice brew of some beautiful
Exactly.
British tea,
So
man.
so I think now with this, I think the best approach to issues of life is to develop a positive mindset.
Mm.
I was looking at some of the past clips we've had and the interview sessions we've had with some persons, and then I discovered I had one with somebody, and the person said her last word. She said one of the things that gives her courage is telling speaking to herself, telling herself that she is loved.
Wow, that's powerful.
That's
Self-
another. Now she wasn't
Mm.
looking for who to talk to. Now it was coming from within.
Mm.
But again, you can only feed yourself with what you have. Now the question is, what do you feed yourself? Remember, Christians, the scripture said, it is not what goes into a man that defies a man, but that which comes out of a man. That means before the thing comes out, something must have gone in
Definitely,
that will
definitely,
come out differently.
definitely,
So
definitely.
what do you feed yourself with?
Correct.
You feed yourself with, you know, literatures, scriptures, whatever, but you must have to find something where you find feeding from, where you feed in, so that in the days when you are lost, you can draw strength within to say,
Yeah.
okay, fine.
Yeah. Right.
You have a well of positivity where you can draw positive thoughts, strength from to move ahead.
Wow. Now that's powerful, Obi. That's powerful. Drawing strength from within.
From
Basically, you're
within.
trying to it's only what you deposit inside of you that you can
Thank you.
actually bring out in the time. Exactly. And
Exactly.
that's why you have to be very careful of the gates, your ears, your
Mm-hmm.
eyes, what you see, what you think,
What
all
you
those
think, what
information
you
that
hear.
come your way. Yes.
Yes.
You have to be very careful because, and then the company that you hang around with, the folks that are in your circle. Um, uh, another Igbo say my father used to say, like, Onyari Shopa,
Mm-hmm.
Mama Tinda Panishi,
Mm-hmm.
Nda Panishi Apabuya.
Exactly. 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 Because
I
he
can
said,
I can see my international audience wondering what's he speaking? Is he
what was
speaking
he saying?
Onyarin Shopa?
Ejele so
Mama
that that
Mama
punch.
Onya Panshi Nda Pansha Pabuya. So if you're not a bad person and you
Mm-hmm.
start hanging around or acting like as if you're a bad person, you're not a
Mm-hmm.
gangster, and you start acting
Mm-hmm.
like a gangster, or you start
Mm-hmm.
walking like a gangster,
Mm-hmm.
gangsters will target you and get rid
Mm-hmm.
of you. They'll think
Yes.
you're a gangster. Obi, let's hold
Yes.
that thought. Let's take a break and we'll come back to another edition of Broken Not Shattered. If you're joining us this afternoon or this evening or this morning, wherever you're in the world, whether you're United States, London, UK, any part of the UK, any part of Africa, West Africa, or even in the in Qatar and Kuwait, where we have a lot of people that show up in that area, please just stay clicked with us, and we'll be back in a few minutes with Broken Not Shattered. If you're on Instagram, we welcome you back to Broken Not Shattered. Just follow us on IG at Broken NT Shattered. Okay. And then we're also on, I think, Facebook, and we're also on YouTube. What's our YouTube channel? I think there you go.
Yeah.
There you
Broken
go.
not shut. Yeah.
Broken Not
Broken not
Shattered.
shut.
All
Yeah.
right.
Same with the channel.
So go ahead, buddy. We got a few minutes to roll. So you were saying something, man.
One other thing that is likened to that proverb you gave is that saying, okay, so long mamini,
Mm.
or congole, or
You
gakoke,
got okay.
at all. So,
Okay.
so, so you don't, the rat will not have to follow the lizard to dance under the rain.
Yeah.
Else, if it dries on lizard, how
It
about the rat?
whatever dries the rat. Because everybody's skin is different.
Exactly.
The lizard has a skin that would definitely allow water to just roll over it, and
Yes.
the rat has more fur or hair that would make him look wet and become even sick, if not dead. So you're right. So it's very important that we choose how we want to portray ourselves.
Yeah.
This
So,
is,
so
go ahead.
so this, what you said also, you know, that we're talking of drawing strength within. I remember one of the things that aided my survivor was that I got to that point where I was able to talk to myself to begin to draw strength from
Mm,
within. And then I said to myself, I need to be mindful of who I give my ears to.
mm.
Why? For a
Say that again.
purpose.
Say that again. Say that again.
I need to be mindful of who I give my ears to.
Mm,
I started conditioning my mind to be centered on being positive. In fact, it got to a point, I decided to, see more of people's positive side than their negative side.
right.
So if you're full of energy, I try to avoid you. And if someone is
If
bad,
you're full of negative energy,
you are full of negative energy.
right.
Yes. If you're full of negative energy, I try to, diplomatically avoid you. And then again, when someone is defined to be as tagged as bad or not so friendly,
Mm.
I don't join people to focus on that negative side. I try to,
The negative side of them, correct.
yes, I try to look for something positive about them and speak it. Then remember, I was looking for a way to help myself to become a better person.
Mm.
So what I did was to say, I need to begin with a paradigm shift. I need to shift my mindset And that mindset was to live from the negative aspect of life, seeing negativity to seeing positive.
Right.
You know, so I try to start talking to myself. You will have to listen to someone who will speak strength to you.
Right.
You know,
Correct.
there was something you said to me that got me stuck with you. I told you.
Man,
No,
you know, I'm always talking.
no. We're being frank here. This is real life experience.
Right.
For the first time in my life, somebody said to me, Obi, come on, buddy, we're gonna do this. There is no foolish question. You say, ask any question you want to ask. Every mistake is a learning opportunity.
Every
Feel free
little-
to make your mistakes
every
and be okay to learn.
That is true.
I'm
That
gonna
is
teach you, we're gonna brush up. And for me, it was one of the best beginning I had in life. That was the beginning of my success.
wow. Wow.
You know, acceptance. So when you see that kind of positive energy, tell me how would one see where he will be received, corrected, allowed to make mistake and grow and not flourish there. Coming from a background of do bad, get beat, to a background of do bad, be encouraged, you know,
Get back on your feet.
exactly, help you get back on your feet and then watch you run.
Right. No, Obi, first of all, I want to say I'm very humbled. And honestly speaking, I'm very, very humbled that God allowed me for allowed our paths to cross during my sojourn in Africa. It was initially I was trying to block it.
Yes.
Initially I was trying to block it, and then after a while I asked myself a serious question. I said to myself, "Of what reason are you blocking this? You know, what is your role in this young man's life?" And look at us today and see what God has done. It's the brotherhood, it's the friendship, it's the laughter. I can call you on a bad day and we can just talk and just I can be myself, and I don't have to be anybody, don't have to be a CEO, I don't have to be a minister of the gospel, a pastor. I just be myself, you know, and just call and say, "Hey, bro, look at what I'm dealing with," and just you will encourage me. And sometimes you call me, and I do the same, you know, and that's a great and healthy relationship that every man needs. You know, most men we don't express what we're carrying. A lot of guys are dropping like flies this day. You know, you see guys dealing with all kinds of manner of stresses that are high stress levels. They're dealing with so many different things, and at the end of the day, they don't have any outlets. You know, pretty much they don't have a very healthy outlet who to speak to, who to go to get encouragement. You know, and then we're very prideful as people. So
Yes.
I don't want Obi to know my flaws, or I don't know
Yes.
what I'm struggling.
Yes.
I don't know. I don't want Ike to come and know that what I'm dealing with.
Yes.
And so
Yes.
you die in silence, brother. You
Yes.
don't have to die in silence.
Yes.
There's
Yes.
another man who's carrying the same cross you're carrying,
Mhm.
or there's another man who has carried the same cross you've carried, or you're
Yes.
carrying, who has carried that cross before, who has
Yeah.
been sent to speak into your life to help you.
Yes.
All you just have to do is find a very comfortable environment where you can
Mhm.
actually speak your truth and just have someone encourage you. Men. We need to stop carrying this weight by ourselves. You're not made to carry it by yourself. No man is an island. No, absolutely no man. If God wanted you to be an island, He would have left you in isolation from the onset.
Yeah.
Actually, it is when the enemy wants to wipe you out that he first of all isolates you from the pack. Every time you watch Animal Geographic, you see the same pattern. When they want to attack the weaker ones, they separate them from the pack, and boom, they attack them. And that's one of the biggest problems we find in Christendom, or would I say in the church, right? Because the church is one organization that has a tendency of always killing its own. I don't know why. Do you understand? It's the woman or the woman that was found in adultery. When Jesus met her, you know, they were like, whoa, we have to stone her to death. He said,
Yeah.
hold on a second, hold on a second, hold on a second. If any of you has no sin, cast the first stone, right? And then all of a sudden, everybody started running, which means all of those men that were carrying stones were all sinful men, right? And so self-righteousness overshadows them that they don't get to see their own problems, but they see somebody else and they condemn. We are not supposed to be destroying our own when they slip and fall. I don't care what it is. You understand? You just go there, reach out to them, ground them if you have to, embrace them with the love of Jesus Christ, encourage them, brush them back up, and set them back forth out to the fields, because
Yeah.
now they have a message to encourage somebody else. But what we do is the person falls and finds himself in a messy situation, boom, we cut them off. I can't tell you how many people that have cut me off because of one situation of my life or the other. But guess what? The same way you're cutting me off, another bunch of people are also embracing me, and I'm living my best life, buddy. I'm living my best life. You know,
Of course.
I tell my brothers, my friends, don't hold in, don't keep it to yourself. Find someone that you can confide in and just share. Now, I use that word carefully. It is not everybody
Everybody.
that you can tell your problems to, right? Find someone that you can trust enough to confide and say, hey, this is what I'm dealing with. This is my struggle. How can we rally around to help? And if it's something that they can do, they can do. If they can't do it, at least they give you the words of encouragement.
Exactly.
I want to say this before I forget. There's a young man, I know he's not on this show. He's become very active in almost everything that I'm doing. Several years ago, I was trying to host CC Winans, which is one of the big gospel artists in Nigeria, right? So we had this big event I was planning with my friend Charles, who lives in South Africa. And everything was pretty much good to go. So the governor of the state where we were doing it at that time, I'm not going to call the state, then I'm going to call the governor's name, but you know the story. The governor of the
Yeah, I
state
know.
messed us up completely, right? Promised us that he was going to take care of us and we're going to have this big arena and everything was good to go. We had a good sponsor, very healthy sponsor coming along. But at the end of the day, the governor messed up, right? Had several meetings with the governor of the state to bring in this great concert into that state back in Nigeria. The governor messed up, so we pulled out. I remember coming back to Lagos feeling very defeated that I had spent a lot of time, resources, mega bucks that was put into this event, and it never happened. And then here I was sitting down with one of Nigeria's top gospel artists. I won't call her name too because she's well out there. I was sitting down with her and I was just sharing my story of what had just happened because she was supposed to be on one of the lineups at the event. And my phone rang. Obi, my phone rang. I looked at the number. I didn't know who it was. I ignored it. I put my phone down again. But the person kept on calling me and did not stop. So I answered the phone, right? I could hear someone crying on the other end. I didn't know who it was. The guy was crying. So I told the artist that I was speaking to, I said, hey, hold on a second. Let me go find out who's on this phone crying, right? So I went into the restroom and I said, hi, who is this? And the guy called his name and said, you don't know me. I'm about to commit suicide and take my life.
Wow.
But listen to this. I'm about to commit suicide to take my life. But I'm getting emotional. Sorry, forgive me. I'm about to commit suicide and take my life. But I heard a voice that says, call that guy you heard on the radio promoting the gospel show. The guy is legally blind.
Wow.
But he was able to use Braille to write my number when we were promoting the show. Because we were talking about, hey, if you want a free ticket, call this number. So he took down that number, right? So he calls that number at the brink of taking his own life.
Wow.
I'm in a concert in Lagos, the experience, with almost 1 million people. So you can imagine how loud it is. But I could hear my phone ring in that loud environment. I couldn't hear him, but I could see my phone ringing, and I went out and I spoke to this guy. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know who he was. And I asked God to give me the wisdom, the understanding. And I kept on speaking to this young man. And I kept on speaking to this young man. He was crying. I was crying. I said, you can't do it tonight. You can't do it tonight. Tonight is not the night you're going to end your life. Tonight is not your life. And I was able to talk him out of committing suicide. And I promised him he should call me the following morning so we can talk. So I gave him something to look forward to. I gave him some kind of hope. And I said, call me the next morning. And the next morning he called me. Today I'm proud to say that the guy was able to finish high school and is now in college studying law.
Wow. Wow.
I stayed in that young man's life day after day after day. Eventually, I got to meet him in person when I traveled to his own part of town where he heard me. We don't live in the same state. We're miles and hours apart, all the way in Africa. And then I called my business partner. I said, man, this is what happened. Obi, I believe that concert
Was for that person. Straight up. No doubt.
that concert was
Yes.
was set up that I will give that guy that number on that radio station, which over 1 million people, 2 million, 3 million people in the state capital listening, right? I don't know who's listening to me. I'm just promoting my show, right? But there was one that had to write that number down. I remember that at this particular time, I can call this guy who I heard his voice on the radio to turn this thing around.
I get it.
That was the day I made peace with all the money I lost, because there was no amount of money I could put in there that can be equated with the life of that young man.
I get what you're saying. But do you know what I want to tell you? That show was never a flop.
It was never.
You know the scriptures that the mind of God and ours are not the same.
That's right.
So God designed it to reach out to someone. Right. But where we were looking at the crowds, the popularity,
all the big names flying from the US. Yeah.
But that was not, what you said is similar to one of the literatures I read sometime, a real life incident of one crusade that was organized sometime. I don't know if it was what gave rise to Yonggi Cho or not. I'm not so sure, but it's ended up a prominent preacher, a global preacher. That crusade gave rise to a global minister. Now, but what happened in the whole of that big?
It was Billy Graham.
Billy Graham. It was just one person.
Billy Graham.
And at the end of the day, they said, "Oh, this was a waste."
And he turned out to be one of the largest evangelists in the whole world.
Exactly.
Saved that millions and millions of souls.
That event held. So it was to reach out to that. Apart from that, so how would he have been able to get across to you?
That's true.
So it was a huge success.
That's true. And I agree. Man, I don't know. It's God is.
I'm not trying to take word from you. I think I have a problem. I don't know if it's a problem, but it helps me. I try as much as to pay attention in between lines. That's what I will say. When you told the story of Mary, who committed adultery, right? That's the woman who committed adultery and they wanted to stone her, right? And Jesus said, if there is any who has not committed, let him or her be the first to cast the stone. And everybody left. Now, what does that teach you or I as regarding how people perceive us? So I don't get on my bed and start killing myself over hate speech, over social media comments that are negative. Coming from who? The same person who has issues. The same person who has problems.
That's right.
Coming at you. And in my little mind and your little mind, you'll not be thinking, oh, this whole world is against me. Hey, let's leave the whole world out of it and focus on them individually. The same way I have issues, and the same way others have issues. The difference is that mine has been magnified. none of theirs has ever been captured.
Mm.
Or depending on my stand, I stand a little
Right.
higher where others can see.
Right.
But aside that, we all are same, facing the same thing. So I'm not going to let your hate speech or their hate speech have an impact in me.
Wow.
So I'll just tell myself, you have a problem, I have a problem.
And
I
guess
move
what,
on
Obi? It's never over
until
it's
it's
over.
over.
Guys, we gotta go. You know, this is one thing I like about this platform. Broken, not shattered. Tell your friends if you're watching for the first time, if you're tuning in from anywhere, let your friends know, let your family know that we are here every 4 p.m. Eastern time. I don't know what part of the time it is in any part of the world. Obi, I guess that's about what, 10 o'clock your time?
That's about 10, that's about 9:30, 10.
10, yeah.
10,
So you can
yeah,
and you
10.
can always, yeah, you can always catch the show. It's on our YouTube channel. It's on our other channels that we have.
Yeah.
You can go to this channel, YouTube, Broken Not Shattered, and you see us and see all the past ones we've done. For all our audience, those who are on Facebook, those who are watching on YouTube, I know that most times we don't know the exact numbers of people who are watching us and those who come to watch later on. I told you I was in Florida recently, and someone that lived in Dublin, Ireland, said to me, "You know, I used to watch your show every Sunday. Why did you guys stop? You know?" And I said, "Wow, I didn't know I was far as reaching Dublin." I get emails and messages from people from other parts of the world saying, "Hey, we need to hear those words of encouragement. We need to hear you guys speak." Obi, we have crossed over our time with our audience. Time is far spent. I just want to say to you, brother, before I let you go, Merry Christmas, and I wish you a Happy New Year. Our next session will be on Christmas Day. So we'll have to figure out whether we're going to do it on that day or we'll do it afterwards. But that's something you and I can discuss later on. But just in case I don't see you, and to all our audience and those who are catching on behalf of the Broken Not Shattered team, myself, my co-host Obi, and those in the back room who make this thing happen, we just want to say, we wish you a Merry Christmas and a wonderful, powerful, successful, healthy, prosperous 2023 as you go into the new year. Um, your last word, Obi, and then we can shut down.
So it's fine. We're approaching Christmas. So walk into the Christmas knowing that it is not over until it is over.
Wow. Yeah, so that's good. And on that note, our famous three words: love, peace, and grace. Take care, and hopefully we'll see you guys pretty soon. On behalf of Obi and I, Broken Not Shattered.